Once upon a time, there was this dude named Loki. Loki was kind of a There was also this lady named Sif. She was all about shooting bows and skiing and stuff. Anyway, this one time Loki lit this hair on fire. She was not thrilled. Neither was Loki's brother and Sif's husband, Thor. Thor, this big meathead jock type dude, was pretty pissed at his brother. Eventually, Thor got a hold of Loki and was about to kick his ass when Loki was all like, "Dude, chill. It was just a goof." And Thor was like, "My wife is bald, dude." And Loki was all like, "Dude, chill. I'll get some dwarves to make her some golden hair. It's basically like real hair, but gold." And Thor was like, "It better be." And let Loki go. So Loki went to some dwarves and asked them to make him some hair. The dwarves were like, "Okay," and made some hair. When they gave the hair to Loki, they were also like, "We have this boat." And Loki was like, "I didn't ask for a boat." And the dwarves were like, "It always has wind when it's sailed." And Loki was like, "Okay." And the dwarves were like, "Also, we made this spear. We named it Gungir. It's a really good spear." And Loki was like, "Who doesn't love a good spear?" And Loki took the pile of stuff from the dwarves and went on his way. Pile of stuff in hand, Loki started talking to this other dwarf, Brock. Brock had a brother named Eitri. Loki was all like, "I bet your brother can't make anything as cool as this stuff." And Brock was all like, "He could totally make stuff as cool as that stuff. He could even make cooler stuff than that stuff." And Loki was like, "Bet." And Brock was like, "Okay. If I win, I get your head." Loki was all like, "You're on, loser." Then Brock went up to his brother and was all like, "Yo, Eitri, this loser says you can't make cooler stuff than those other dwarves." And Eitri was like, "Hold my beer," and set off to make some cool stuff. Eitri began working the forge and told Brock to blow on it to keep the fire going. Brock was all like, "My time to shine," and blew on the forge to keep the fire going. As Brock was blowing, a fly started to get all up in his business. Brock was all like, "F off, I gotta blow on the forge." And the fly was all like, "F you," and bit Brock on the hand. But Brock kept blowing, and eventually Eitri pulled out cool thing number 1, a boar with golden bristles. Eitri then set to the forge again and told Brock to keep up his blowing. Brock was all like, "My time to shine," and blew on the forge. Eventually the fly came back, and Brock was all like, "F off, I gotta blow on the forge." And the fly was like, "F you," and bit Brock on the neck. But Brock kept blowing, and eventually Eitri pulled out cool thing number 2, a gold ring. For a final time, Eitri fired up the forge and told Brock to blow on it. And for the final time, it was Brock's time to shine. Shine he did as he blew on the forge better than anyone has ever blown on a forge. Then, the fly returned, and Brock was all like, "F off!" And the fly was like, "F you!" And the fly bit Brock on the forehead so hard that Brock began to bleed. Blinded by forehead blood, Brock stopped blowing. He caught the fly and was like, "F you stupid dumb fly!" and tore its wings off. Eitri came back to the forge to find Brock not blowing and was all like, "What the f, dude? You had one job." And Brock was all like, "But there was this fly." And Eitri was all like, "Whatever," and pulled the final cool thing out of the forge, the hammer Mjolnir. Loki and Brock then set off to Asgard with their respective cool things so the gods there could judge which thing was the coolest. The pair arrived in Asgard and gave the cool things to the gods to be judged. Loki gave the spear to Odin and was all like, "It's really good at stabbing." And Odin was all like, "I do enjoy a good stabbing." And the hair to Thor and was all like, "Sorry about burning your wife's hair off." And Thor was like, "F you, Loki." He gave the boat to some guy named Frey, and Frey was all like, "Dope boat." Brock gave the gold ring to Odin and was all like, "Every 9th night it'll poop out 8 more cool rings." And Odin was all like, "I do enjoy a good ring." He gave Frey the boar and was all like, "It can run all day and night, and it also glows in the dark." And Frey was like, "Dope boar." He gave Thor the hammer Mjolnir and was all like, "It's really good at bonking trolls, and will always come back to you if you yeet it. Also, it can get really small and pocket-sized if you want it to." And Thor was all like, "The handle is kind of small though." And Brock was all like, Dude, there was this fly you don't understand. Eventually, the gods ruled that the hammer was the coolest thing, and Loki was all like, damn it! And Brock was all like, your head is mine, loser! And Loki made like the Roadrunner and ran away really quick. Brock asked Thor to catch Loki so he could cut his head off, and Thor was like, okay, and caught Loki. Brock was going to cut Loki's head off when Loki was all like, dude, that's my neck, not my head. Brock aimed at a different spot, and Loki was all like, still neck, dude. Again, Brock readjusted his aim, and Loki was all like, still neck. This went on for hours and hours before Brock was all like, this shit. He instead chose to sew Loki's mouth closed, just so he could get him to shut the hell up about what does and does not constitute